Today's video is an unboxing and review of this, the DJI Mic 3. So before we start, this is not a sponsored review. I bought this with my own money. I have no contact with DJI or any of their distributors. All of the views and opinions and perceptions you'll hear me express in this video are entirely my own, for better or worse. Anyway, so let's open this up and have a look. Now, very often when I unbox things, it's not a very serious review. You know, usually I pick things that are a bit of a novelty or curious item. This is an earnest review because this is a product I've bought to hopefully improve the sound quality in my videos. Anyway, so inside the box, oh, there is also a... Did that really need to be in a plastic bag? Safety guidelines in a sealed shut plastic bag. That looks like a sticker here as well, or a set of stickers. DJI, bring the memory card. Okay. And the main item, it'd be fun, I suppose, to count the layers of plastic here, wouldn't it? So that's two. Little zip up, slightly padded pouch, and then everything comes out. That's everything out of there. Okay, and then layer 3 of plastic. This is some dead cats, some little fluffy bits to clip on to reduce wind noise. These are some little magnets, because I believe the microphones can be magnetically mounted to clothing and such. Here we've got a USB type C to type C cable, another layer of plastic, so what, that's 1, 2, 3, 4 now, and an audio jack with a screw on one end of it. I assume that screws into the receiver. And then this is the microphones. This is layer 3 of plastic we're taking off. And this little case, press to unlock. So there's a sticker. Okay. And press to unlock. And then inside here we've got, that's interesting that it powered on straight away. So that's the little receiver. And then we've got two microphones. And we've also got a little shoe, which has got a USB-C bracket on it. I think that goes on the back here. I think this attaches on the back here so that this can be plugged into the bottom of a smartphone, so it can act as an external microphone. Oh, I need to be a bit careful here that I don't mess up the language. So there's a little touch screen on this. Well, I'm just going to break here for a moment while I just go and consult the Easy Start guidelines and get myself started. So anyway, that pack contained the safety guidelines, which I haven't read. Does anybody read these? Might be fun to have a look and see if there's anything relevant in there someday. A sticker. It's not a sticker for the product. It's presumably a sticker you put on your laptop or your skateboard or whatever. DJI logo, and then, yeah, this memory card, bring the memory card, fly to the future, and a quick start guide. And the quick start guide really is multi-language, because it's just all completely diagrammatic, or almost entirely diagrammatic, and apart from the labeling of the buttons here. So this device is a charging case. It needs to be, the case needs to be charged up, and then that will charge the devices that are in there as well. So I think I need to do that first before we can give them a test out. So I'll put that in there. Here we've got a little flashing light. It's only on one light, so I think we'll get that charged up full before we proceed with the review. But just to say, it's quite clever, the design here. For example, the receiver has got this thing on here, which is a clip. It's a little spring clip. But it is also designed to function as a shoe to go into a hot shoe mount on a camera, so that you've got your audio interface up here, and then you can have this little cable giving you a direct audio feed into the camera if you wish. But this device does have onboard recording capability, but I think if you plug it directly into the camera, you can get it to start recording when the camera records. And yeah, I'll be back in a moment when this is fully charged. Okay, that's taken an hour or so to charge up, and now everything in there's fully charged. When you open it up, you get a little display of all of these charging indicators here, and it says 57.3 hours. I initially thought that was the time it was going to take to charge, but that's actually the amount of recording time capacity these have got internally. I'm likely to use these in a couple of different ways. I'm only actually likely to use one microphone at a time, but it's good to have a backup there charging in the case. I think these run for about 12 hours or something, but it's worth having a spare, so that I can carry on recording. So I'm likely to use these in one of two ways. One is standalone, like this. So we just press this button and it will start recording, and the recording is held internally in the microphone. I could just take that with me and go out, and that's all I need. So just press that red button. That red light comes on, and that's now recording. And in fact, what we'll do is switch over to this audio of this recording now and see what that sounds like. So this is the recording on that microphone. You're listening to what's being recorded right now on this microphone and stored internally into this little device here. Okay, I'm just going to stop that. The other way in which I might use these, most of my recording, by the way, is done on smartphones just because I find that easier than complicated cameras. I mean, I don't know if I'll bother taking that out in the field with me because the GoPro microphone's pretty good at noise cancelling, but I might do. Anyway, this thing can plug into here. So that goes in there and connects, and I can just say recording only actually. And then when I take one of these out of the box here, it automatically connects, and you can see the levels there. It's not recording yet, but now that is automatically connected to this microphone. If I want to, I can do that and it will connect two of them, but I'm only going to do one. And then on this, when I hit record, it just uses the audio from this microphone and records it into the video stream on the phone. So I might use it that way, like in the kitchen or something when I'm doing my cooking videos. So we'll go and test this, I think, in a variety of different situations, and we'll try it with and without, and well, we can make a judgment on what we think the improvement is like, if any. It is worth noting that the audio you're listening to right now is recorded on this camera that you're watching here, which is just a smartphone. But even with this recording, I've done some processing to sort of dehiss it a little bit, and also to drop the resonance at the lower frequencies, and also just a bit of echo removal and stuff using the AI voice isolation tool in DaVinci Resolve. I only use it at a very low level, like 20% or something. But just as a demonstration of that, I'll turn that off now. So this audio you're now listening to has no modifications in the edit. This is just the raw audio as it comes in the recorded file. So we'll compare that with, this is the audio with those things turned back on. And then this is the audio from the new microphone. You can do noise cancellation as well by double pressing this little record button. And that light there goes yellow. That means it's doing extra noise cancellation, which might be useful like in a windy environment or somewhere with a lot of background noise. So this is what that sounds like when we have the noise cancellation switched on. Anyway, I imagine there's some features and functions of this that I will still have to get to grips with. But for now, that's the unboxing bit done. Except to say that this box is also a USB hub for these devices. So when you dock them in here, and if this USB cable is attached to a computer, they automatically show up as external storage, and you can just pull the audio files straight off them. So I'm going to give this a test in the kitchen, which is a tall, echoey room. I'm going to put the dead cat on there, and I'm going to clip this onto my shirt, which we haven't yet tested. How do these clip on? Do they just push on? Should have read the manual. Yeah, so they just clip on. Reason for putting that on there actually is mainly that I don't want to drop gravy or food or whatever into that little hole there. I'm more prepared to sacrifice this replaceable thing than get something in there, liquids from cooking, that would be difficult to clean out. So I will fit that. Just seems to press on. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to put that on my shirt, and I'm going to record using this interface into my phone. Okay, well this seems like a good scenario. I'm just going to cook my breakfast. Actually, I'm just interested to see how much I can do this kind of thing and still have my voice as the priority. Anyway, this will be a good test. The other thing to note here is that as I wander off over here to wash my fingers, hopefully my voice is being picked up by the microphone that I'm wearing rather than the one that's on the camera. Now I'm not sure if I should expect to be able to talk over the top of noisy activity like this and still be heard properly, but we'll see. The other thing is my stomach is rumbling, so I don't know if you're hearing that on camera. That will be interesting to note. And I'm not trying to be quiet here, so just making a little bit more noise probably than usual, just as a test of all of the noise reduction, which is switched on, by the way. Right, let's head to the cooker. Now, I wandered off into the next room actually just to see if it would disconnect, so if we're still connected, that's good. I can hear my own voice reverberating a little bit in this room, which has quite a high ceiling. Toast is up. Butter is not quite melted for cooking just yet. Won't be long though. Okay, that's about ready. And yes, the eggs really are that colour. That was my stomach rumbling just there. If you didn't hear that, and I suppose that's a good thing because it means the background noises are being filtered out. Okay, we're back over here. I cooked that a little bit further than I would have liked to actually, just because I was setting the camera while the pan was still hot. That should be enough of a test in the kitchen. I'm just going to go into the dining room now actually, where it's even bigger and even more echoey than the kitchen. Meanwhile, my food is getting cold. In this room, very often have problems with reverberation. It's a big, tall, echoey room with lots of hard surfaces. And there's a little dog making a noise, so I'll save a little bit for her. Anyway, I hope there's an adequate real-world test for this little bit anyway. Good girl. No, there aren't any more, sorry. I decided for an outdoor test we'd come somewhere with a bit of a breeze. So we are here at Chesil Beach. At the moment, you're listening to the audio recorded natively on the GoPro's microphone. In a minute, when we get up to the top of the Chesil Bank, we'll switch to the DJI Mic 3 and compare and contrast. So dual recording now. This is the GoPro microphone and this is the DJI Mic 3. This is with noise reduction turned on. And we get up to the top now and there is quite a steady breeze in off the sea. Okay, so Here we are on top of Chesil Bank. And so this is the GoPro microphone. I'll just get my breath back. Quite a steep climb up gravel there. So this is the GoPro microphone. And then this is the DJI mic. You're listening to me now on the DJI with noise reduction turned on. Now I'm not going to hang about here too long today, but just to note that because this microphone doesn't require me to be close to the camera, there is an opportunity here to do documentary style shots like this. And so it was that Mike, or Atomic Shrimp as we've come to know him, trudged the 10-mile journey from Abbotsbury behind me to Portland in front of me, along this narrow bank of gravel called Chesil Bank, on these very stones. Beside these very waves, he walked with his companion, whose identity has never yet been revealed, stopping every 500 meters to measure and catalogue the properties of the gravel. I suppose we should also do that weird thing where people hold the microphone instead of having it clipped to themselves or having it on a stand. You know, hold the microphone that is clearly designed to be clipped to your body. I don't know, I think it's probably less good than having the microphone in a fixed relationship to your body, but it's very popular on streaming video online to do this, to hold the microphone, or perhaps clip it to something comical, like a banana. Alright, so really this is only my first impressions of this. This is not an extensive test, but we've tested it in a couple of situations. I'm quite happy with this actually. I was quite surprised how big of a difference there was recording at Chesil Beach there. The GoPro does have some built-in wind noise reduction in the software, and I use this foam windshield as well. But I was quite surprised at how big of a difference that made. In fact, I've started, so in case you're wondering where the other microphone is, I'm wearing it. It's what you're listening to. So overall, what do I like about this? It's lovely and compact. The build quality feels really good. These things are nice and small. They just look and feel well made. They're quite discreet. You can tuck that to a lapel and it's not that conspicuous. I mean, I suppose if you're concerned about logos, you could cover those up if that's a thing that bothers you. The system itself is very capable and highly feature rich. In fact, the quick start guide doesn't really, only just barely gets you started. There is a manual for this online that you can download and read as a PDF, and the manual is really dense, and that's not a critique. There is a lot of information in the manual and it's presented succinctly and in compact form. It's a bit bewildering, to be honest, because the features that this thing has are many and diverse. These little microphones can connect directly to your phone as a Bluetooth mic or anything else that supports Bluetooth. They can connect to this thing. This is the receiver. The receiver can connect to other receivers, so you can group them, and it can connect to computers and all sorts of things. There are just lots of different ways of using this and connecting it to things. It'll connect natively to DJI cameras and all sorts of stuff like that. So there are many different ways of using this, and that can be a little bit bewildering at the start, and I really don't think I've completely got to grips with it. This is only day 2 for me at the moment, by the way, and I don't suppose I will use it in all of the ways that it can be used, and that's probably normal. I think the thing to do is sit down with the manual, figure out which modes of use are going to suit you, and I think for me it's really just 2 of them, and then just learn how to make those work. For example, you know, all of the different flashing lights and stuff have got meanings, and the manual does list them all. You're never going to remember all of that unless you use this thing day in, day out. So I think the trick is to learn the modes that you're likely to use and just use those. And yeah, as I say, for me, it's going to be standalone like this, like I did at Chesil Beach. So I didn't take that receiver with me. I just had the microphone recording, and it records to its internal memory. And if you've got the noise reduction turned on, as I have here, it records 2 files. It records the raw audio and then the modified audio with the noise reduction, which is good. The other way I'll probably use it is with this bass thing plugged into the phone that I use for recording stuff in the kitchen, and functions that you get on this thing. It prompts you every time you switch it on, and it says indoors. Now that's showing actually the monitor for the microphone I'm speaking on at the moment, even though I'm not connected. This is not connected to anything. But this little touch screen has got all of the settings. You can do all sorts of stuff that will configure this receiver and configure the microphones as well. One tiny detail I totally forgot to mention is that these microphones have got haptic feedback. So when you record, when you press record, there's a little vibration, and when you press stop, there's a little double vibration. That's useful because if this thing is pinned to your lapel, you can't necessarily see that indicator light, but you can, when you press the button, feel a little buzz, which means it's recording, and a little double buzz, which means it stopped recording. So I like a lot of things about this. I should say I paid £215 for this kit. There is a smaller kit which comprises just the receiver and one of the microphones, and I think perhaps a cable or two, but not the charging case. The charging case I felt like would be a boon to me for when I'm traveling, because I can charge this up and then these devices charge from the charging case. What don't I like about it? One silly little thing I'm slightly concerned about is whether this got a kind of soft touch coating on this case. I don't know if that's eventually going to be one of those coatings that turns sticky over time. There's no way to tell until it happens. That's one thing I'm a little bit concerned about this. The other thing I would say I don't like about this is that the app that comes with this, the DJI Mimo app, is really bloated with ads and features and stuff like that. And really all you want to use it for is configuring the microphone and connecting and recording. But it's just full up with gubbins. So yeah, the DJI Mimo app here, I mean, there's some guides in there and stuff and how to do vlogging, and it's almost like it's trying to be a social media app. All I actually would use it for is device management and the wireless mic, which none of these are connected at the moment. But yeah, it's just, you have to use this because this is the route via which you update the firmware on the devices. But there's just so much here that's not necessary and is in your face. This thing takes you to the DJI store where they would love to sell you some more bits, which I suppose is fair enough. But yeah, there's lots of featured videos, and yeah, it's just, do we need all of this? I would prefer a more minimal app that has just the stuff you need. The firmware update process was actually quite interesting because what happened is you plug this in and it sends the firmware to the receiver, and then you put the receiver in the box with the microphones and it updates each of the microphones in turn. That was really interesting. It's a well-conceived little product and it's just so feature rich. They've obviously put a lot of thought into this. Actually, what I haven't done is talk about this jog wheel. That's for, we can adjust the gain in real time on that, but I probably won't need to do that anyway. So that's been my unboxing and review of the DJI Mic 3 wireless microphone kit. I'm quite happy with this. I think it has made a difference to the sound, and so I'm pretty satisfied so far. I hope that's been interesting or useful. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon.